16 things almost everybody believes about their phone. All of them are wrong, though I will give you one that is true. Not kind of true. True enough that the company admitted it in writing and then agreed to pay up to $500 million over it. $500 million for the thing everybody kept calling a conspiracy theory. That one is at the end. I'm not hiding it from you. I just want you to earn it first. Number 16. And number 16 is the one your entire family has done. Rice, phone enters water, and within 4 seconds, everybody standing there becomes a repair engineer. Put it inside rice, and somebody is already pouring the rice before you've even finished shouting. The theory is that the rice pulls the moisture out of the phone. It's a beautiful story. It's just not what happens. Apple wrote this down officially. Their words: don't put your iPhone in a bag of rice, because small particles of rice could damage your iPhone. So the treatment ends with starch and dust sitting inside the exact port you're going to push a charger into tomorrow morning. What Apple actually tells you to do is boring, which is exactly why nobody repeats it. Tap the phone gently against your hand with the port facing down so the water drains out. Leave it somewhere dry with air moving. After 30 minutes, you can try charging it and give it up to 24 hours to dry properly. No hair dryer, no compressed air, and please, not the cotton bud. You're pushing the water deeper and leaving fibers behind. Your phone is wet. It's not blocked. Rice has fed generations. He has never repaired one phone. He didn't study for this. Number 15. Water resistant means waterproof, and this one costs real money. The advert shows the phone underwater. Bubbles, slow motion, a lot of confidence. So you take it swimming, you take it into the shower, you take pictures in the rain, and then one ordinary day, it just stops. IP68 is not a promise. It's a laboratory result. Clean, still, fresh water. Fixed depth, fixed time, room temperature. On a brand new phone, sealed that morning. Your phone is not that phone. It has been dropped. It has been opened by the man at the junction. It has spent a year in a bag in this heat. And they tell you in the warranty, in writing, splash water and dust resistance are not permanent conditions, and resistance might decrease as a result of normal wear. Then here's the part that stings. Apple, Samsung, Sony, almost all of them exclude liquid damage from the warranty. So the same phone is sold to you underwater and warranted on dry land. That's not an accident. That's marketing on the outside, legal on the inside, and you in the middle holding a dead phone. Treat that rating as insurance against an accident. Rain, a splash, a drop in the sink. Not as a swimming license. Number 14. Closing your apps saves battery. Some of you do this like a spiritual exercise. Recent apps. Swipe, swipe, swipe. WhatsApp gone. Instagram gone. The calculator you opened in 2023 gone. And it feels productive. You look at that empty screen and something in your chest relaxes. It's costing you battery. It isn't saving any. A backgrounded app on a modern phone is frozen. It isn't running. It's holding its place, using almost nothing, waiting. When you swipe it away, you don't stop work. You throw work away. Next time you open it, the phone has to build the whole thing again. Load it, fetch everything, redraw it. That costs more power than waking up something that was already sitting there quietly. Apple's own software boss was asked directly on record whether he force quits apps and whether it helps battery life. His answer was no and no. Close an app when it freezes or starts misbehaving. That's it. That's the entire rule. Everything else is sweeping a floor that was already clean and then being tired afterwards. Number 13. You have to let it die completely before you charge it. Somebody taught you this and somebody taught them. So now you're at 3% in traffic, watching it, refusing to charge like the battery is doing press-ups. Apple's own battery page says it plainly. Charge your battery whenever you want. There's no need to let it discharge 100% before recharging. That advice came from older battery chemistry decades ago. It never left the family group chat. And here's the bit that changes how you think about it. A charge cycle is not one plug-in. It's when you've used up an amount equal to 100% of the battery. 40% today, 60% tomorrow. That was one cycle, not two. So topping up 10% before you leave the house costs you almost nothing. Apple rates the iPhone 15, 16, and 17 to still hold 80% of their capacity after 1,000 of those cycles. Older ones were rated for 500. Charge from 30, charge from 60. Charge because you're passing a socket and there's light. Your battery isn't training for anything. There's no tournament. Number 12, and this is the big one. Never charge overnight, you'll kill the battery. The way people describe it, the phone reaches 100%, panics, and keeps swallowing electricity until sunrise. That's not what happens. When it's full, it stops drawing a charge. Most phones now go further than that. They learn your sleep pattern, park at 80% for most of the night, and finish just before your alarm. On iPhone, you can also set a hard 80% limit and forget about it. So the night isn't the enemy, heat is. And this is where we actually lose batteries. Light comes at 1 a.m., so everything goes on charge at once. Phone on the bed, phone under the pillow, thick case, still on, cheap charger, no air anywhere near it. Hot and completely full for hours is the combination that ages a battery faster. Not the clock, not bedtime, hard surface. Let air reach it. That's the whole fix. Your battery will still get old eventually. That isn't your fault and it isn't a punishment. That's chemistry, being rude. Number 11, dark mode saves your battery. And people say this with so much confidence. They've turned everything black. Black WhatsApp, black keyboard, black bank app, black everything. Researchers at Purdue measured it properly across several phones and apps you actually use. At normal brightness, 30 to 50%, dark mode save between 3 and 9% of screen power. 3 to 9%. That is not a saving you will ever feel. That's a rounding error with a personality. Now at full brightness, the same switch saved between 39 and 47%. So dark mode isn't lying to you. It just needs a condition almost nobody sits in. And then that same research points straight at the thing nobody wants to hear. Dropping your brightness from 100% down to 50 cuts the screen's power draw by around 10 times. 10 times. From a slider you already have. The one you drag all the way up outside in the sun and then never drag back down. One catch. This is an OLED thing because on OLED, the black pixels are genuinely switched off. On a cheaper LCD, the backlight is on either way. So dark mode, there is a vibe, not a saving. Use dark mode because it looks good and it's kinder to your eyes at night. Those are real reasons. Just stop telling people it's charging your phone. Number 10, it has 16 gigs of RAM, so it must be fast. And the sticker on the box knows exactly what it's doing. Big number, bold font, front of the box, where your eye lands first. RAM decides how many things your phone can keep open at once. It does not decide how fast any one of them runs. The chipset does that, and the storage speed, and how well the software was written. A phone with 8 gigs and a strong processor will beat a phone with 16 gigs and a weak one every time. And it isn't close. Then there's the newer trick, and it has a lovely name. Extended RAM, virtual RAM, memory fusion. It borrows your storage and pretends it's memory. Storage is far slower than real memory. So the box says 12 plus 12 in your hand. The second 12 is a costume. And the RAM cleaner apps. Google says don't. Android is designed to fill memory on purpose, keeping the apps you use most ready to open instantly. Empty RAM isn't a tidy house. It's a wasted resource. You paid for that memory to be full. So when the seller leads with RAM and never once mentions the chip, he isn't selling you speed. He's selling you a number that photographs well. Number 9, you need an antivirus app on your phone. And this belief usually arrives through a pop-up that flashes red and announces that your phone has 17 viruses, which is itself, and I need you to sit with this, an advert. Android already ships with Play Protect. This year, it's scanning in the region of 350 billion apps a day, and its live scanning has flagged more than 27 million new malicious apps that came from outside the Play Store entirely. The scanner you're being sold is already in your pocket, on free, paid for. And the real danger was never some virus floating in the air. It's the APK a stranger sent you on WhatsApp because this one gives free data. It's the loan app that asks for your contacts, your gallery, and your messages. And you tapped allow because you needed the money that day. And now they have every number you own. No antivirus app on earth saves you from a permission you granted yourself. Go into your settings, look at which apps can read your messages and your contacts, and start taking things back. Nobody broke into the house. Some of us have just been handing out keys. Number 8, and this is the only one on this list that can actually burn your house down. A charger is a charger. 500 naira. Bought beside the road. It fits, it charges, we move. In the UK, Electrical Safety first bought 50 fake and look-alike iPhone chargers and tested them properly. 98% of them had the potential to deliver a lethal electric shock, start a fire, or both. All but one failed at least one test. More than 1 in 3 failed every single part of it. In the US, UL tested 400 counterfeit chargers, 99% failure rate. And what's missing inside them is the boring part. Proper insulation and enough physical distance between the side carrying mains voltage and the side that touches your hand. Remove that gap and the charger gets cheaper, thinner, and 1 volt away from sending mains voltage into whatever you're holding. Now put that on the bed, overnight, under a blanket, sometimes during a storm. The phone costs 200,000. The thing feeding it electricity costs 500. Buy a real one, any proper brand. This is the cheapest insurance in tech and it's the one everybody skips. Number 7, bigger milliampere hour number, bigger battery, longer life. Sold. Power banks especially, 50,000 milliampere hours, printed the size of a headline. Price too sweet and it weighs almost nothing. That last part is the giveaway. In documented tests, a power bank sold as 20,000 milliampere hours delivered under 6,000 before it died. Another one advertised at 26,800 gave about 12,700. And you can catch this in the shop with your hand before you pay. Real cells weigh something. A genuine 10,000 lands around 200 to 230 grams. A real 20,000 is roughly 420 to 500. So if a 20,000 power bank feels like an empty TV remote, the cells inside physically cannot hold that energy. What's in there is space and air and a sticker. Same trap on phones, just quieter. A 6,000 milliampere hour phone with a hungry chip and a big bright fast screen can die before a smaller battery running an efficient one. Milliampere hour is the size of the tank. It tells you nothing about how the engine drinks. Stop buying tanks. Start asking about the engine. Number 6, 200 megapixels. So obviously it beats 50. This is the easiest number in tech to sell because bigger means better. Everybody understands bigger. Megapixels only tell you how many pixels are in the picture. They tell you nothing about how good those pixels look. What decides that is the size of the sensor, how much light each pixel can collect, the lens sitting in front of it, the stabilization, and the processing behind it. And here's the twist nobody expects. On a small phone sensor, cramming in more megapixels makes each individual pixel smaller. Smaller pixels collect less light, which is exactly how you end up with a very high-resolution photograph of a dark, noisy room. Which matters, because half our pictures are taken indoors, in the evening, in light that is genuinely trying its best. And most of those 200 megapixel phones don't even hand you 200 megapixels. They merge groups of tiny pixels into bigger ones just to survive the lighting. So the number that sold you the phone is a number the phone itself quietly avoids using. A bad camera at 200 megapixels is still a bad camera. It just fails in higher definition. And while we're here, that subscribe button will not improve your camera either. It only improves your odds of getting back to the least serious tech class on the internet. Very advanced technology. Number 5, full bars means fast internet. Full bars, loading circle. Full bars, loading circle. And that very specific range. The bars are telling you one thing only: how clearly your phone can hear the nearest mast. That's a strength reading. It is not a speed reading. What they never show you is how many other people are shouting at that same mast in that same second. And a mast has a ceiling, which is exactly why the internet dies in the places with the most people. Stadium, church program, or Wambe, the bank on the last working day of the month, everybody with full bars, nobody with internet. Your phone is being heard perfectly. So are the 4,000 phones standing around you, and the mast is only step 1. Behind it is the fiber carrying it back, the network's own capacity, the plan you're on, and whether that site is being fed properly today. Full bars means you have a strong connection. It doesn't mean the connection has anything useful to say. Number 4, 5G means fast. The logo appears in your status bar and something inside you relaxes. We have arrived. 5G isn't one thing. It's a family of technologies sitting on very different frequencies. The high-frequency version is genuinely spectacular, travels a short distance, and gets stopped by a wall. The version that covers wide areas is the one most people actually get, and it can feel a lot like good 4G. Same icon, same phone, completely different experience depending on which flavor you caught and how busy it is. And here's where the marketing meets the ground. 4 years after 5G launched here, the regulator's own figures for March this year put 5G at 4.2% of connections. 4G is at 53.76%, and 2G in 2026 is still sitting at 36.74%. More than a third of connections are still 2G. So when a phone is being sold to you on the strength of its 5G, ask a very ordinary question first. 5G where? On which network? In the area where you actually live and work. Because that icon only tells you what your phone latched onto. It isn't a promise. Sometimes it sits there proudly while your video buffers like it's being delivered by Okada. Drop the worst phone advice anybody has ever given you in the comments. Somebody's uncle has a battery theory that needs investigating. Number 3, and this one has actually flipped. Never use public Wi-Fi, they'll hack you. For years, that was solid advice. Genuinely, the web used to travel in plain text, so anyone sitting on the same network could read it. That changed. The US Federal Trade Commission now says it directly. Because of the widespread use of encryption, connecting through a public Wi-Fi network is usually safe. Around 95% of web traffic is encrypted now. So the old picture, a guy in a hoodie reading your bank details off the airport Wi-Fi, is a picture from a different decade. But don't celebrate too early, because the threat didn't die, it moved. Now they build a hotspot that looks like the real one. Hotel_guest_Wi-Fi. Free_airport_Wi-Fi. You join theirs instead. Everything still works, and all of it passes through them first. or the page that pops up asking you to sign in to use the Wi-Fi, and it wants your email password or your card for verification. That's a fake login page wearing a hotel uniform. So the modern rule is much smaller than the old one. Public Wi-Fi is fine. Confirm the network name with an actual human being who works there. Never type a password into whatever page it throws at you. And if it asks you to install something, walk away. Number 2, Incognito Mode. The hat and the glasses. Honestly, the icon is the problem. It looks like a disguise. So everybody assumed it was a disguise. Incognito stops the browser from saving things on your device after you close it. History, cookies, what you typed into boxes. That's the job. That is the whole job. The website still sees you. The network still sees you. Your provider still sees you. Your office Wi-Fi and your school Wi-Fi still see you. And the moment you log into an account, you have personally introduced yourself. And people didn't misunderstand this by accident. Google was taken to court over exactly this confusion in a case seeking $5 billion, arguing that Chrome kept collecting data from people who believed incognito meant private. Google settled. It agreed to delete or de-identify billions of those private browsing records. It agreed to let incognito users block third-party cookies for years. And it agreed to rewrite the wording you see when you open an incognito tab so it says more clearly what is still being watched. The fix was a clearer sentence, which tells you how much work the old sentence was doing. Incognito is genuinely useful. Shared laptop. A second account. Buying somebody a surprise without your browser announcing it at dinner. It's local privacy. It was never a cloak. Number 1, and this one lives in your mother's voice. Don't sleep with the phone near your head. Don't keep it in your chest pocket. It will give you cancer. And the whole fear is carried by one word: radiation. Because we hear it and think of nuclear plants and X-rays. There are two completely different things sharing that one word. One kind carries enough energy to knock electrons off atoms and damage DNA directly. That's X-rays, that's gamma. The other kind is nowhere near that energy. Your phone, your Wi-Fi, your radio, your microwave all sit in the second group. And this has been studied for decades. In 2024, a systematic review commissioned by the World Health Organization pulled the research together and concluded with moderate certainty that mobile phone use likely does not increase the risk of brain cancers, including glioma, meningioma, and acoustic neuroma in adults or brain tumors in children. And I'm not going to hide the other half from you. A group of scientists publicly criticized how that review was done and argued it played down findings in the heaviest users. Science is allowed to argue with itself. That's the job. But here's the thing that keeps holding. Phone use went from rare to almost universal in about 30 years, and brain cancer rates did not climb to match. If phones were doing this, that number had nowhere to hide. So sleep. The thing beside your bed is not slowly cooking you. The only real reason to move it away is that it keeps buzzing at 2 a.m. and stealing your rest. And honestly, that one is doing more damage than any radiation. Now, the one I promised you. Your phone gets slower right around the time the new model launches. Everybody has felt this. And for years, saying it out loud got you laughed at. Conspiracy theory. You're just noticing more. In 2017, Apple admitted it. Not a leak, an admission. Software updates were deliberately slowing down older iPhones, and their reason was genuinely reasonable. An aging battery can't deliver sudden bursts of power. When the phone demands more than the battery can give, it shuts down instantly in your hand at whatever percent. So Apple wrote code to slow the phone down and stop the shutdowns. The engineering wasn't the crime. The silence was. Nobody was told. So millions of people concluded their phone was finished and went and bought a new one, when a battery swap would have brought it straight back. The lawsuits came. Apple agreed to settle for up to $500 million. Payouts reached people in early 2024 at roughly $92 each. It paid another $113 million to settle with a group of US states over the same thing. And the good news is, the whole thing got dragged into the open. Your phone now has a battery health screen. Settings, battery health. If your maximum capacity has fallen off a cliff, your phone isn't old. It's thirsty. A battery replacement costs a small fraction of a new phone. Millions of people have thrown away a perfectly good phone because nobody sat them down and told them that. So the next time somebody tells you they slow down old phones on purpose, don't argue with them. That one is true. It is the only one on this entire list that is, and they paid nearly $500 million to stop talking about it. Alright, one thing that actually works, since I've spent 20 minutes taking things away from you. Restart your phone once a week. That's not a folk remedy from your uncle. That is published guidance from the US National Security Agency. A lot of modern phone attacks live in memory and don't survive a power cycle. You reboot, they're gone, and whoever it was has to start the whole thing again. It won't stop everything, and the NSA says that too. But it costs you 40 seconds, once a week. 40 seconds, which is genuinely more than Rice has ever done for anybody. So tell me, which of these were you doing? Be honest, because I was closing apps for years, and I was aggressive about it. Tell me the worst phone advice anyone ever gave you down in the comments. And if somebody in your family is still doing the Rice thing, this is the video. Send it to them. Kindly. And phone myths are only half of it. Your phone is also full of features that sound impressive, look expensive, and have never once been touched by a human being. That one is on screen now. Go and find out what your phone has been hiding from you.